Our next speaker and last one before morning tea is Rebecca Harris. She is General Manager, Regulatory Services with WorkCover. Rebecca is a proud career public servant with extensive experience working in a range of areas. One of the things in my mind, one of her most significant achievements in the public sector has been offering me my first job in the public sector. Whether she's proud of that or not, I'm not really sure. She's held senior executive positions with the Department of Education, Department of Premier and Cabinet, Public Sector Commission before she commenced with WorkCover in 2019, and she is here to talk to us today about workers' compensation, effective return to work programs, and strong worker support in the agricultural industries. Rebecca.
Thank you, Andrew, and I'm going to move around because we've had a lot of information today, and I don't want to not say hello to our friends joining us online, so I'm sure that camera's going to move. Can we give them a big wave? Everybody, wave, wave, wave. It's not the first level of interactivity, so I'm watching you, Rebecca. Wave at our audience. Here we go. I want to tell you today, my message as the government regulator is really, really simple. But we've had a lot of complex information, and I now have to undertake a test. So there's a white paper on your tables. Please grab a sheet. You do not need a pen. For those of you joining us online, and that's you, Gaz and Koji, because what Andrew didn't tell you is this is interactive and I can see what you guys are doing. I also encourage you to get a piece of paper. You're going to need it just for a couple of minutes. Now, the people in the room, I can't have my eyes in two places at once, but I'll try. Karen, I'm watching you too. Can you grab your sheet of paper? Hold it up, and close your eyes. Simple, like my message. Now, eyes closed. Here's the test. Andrew, I'm watching you. Eyes aren't closed. Here we go. Let me see as the government regulator whether the rural community here in Merredin can follow these instructions. Fold your piece of paper in half. Keep those eyes closed. I'm watching. Now, tear the right-hand corner off completely. Let's keep going. Fold the piece of paper in half again and tear the right-hand corner off. And those of you who are on predictive will know, here it comes, fold the piece of paper in half, one more time, and tear the right-hand corner off. Now, don't do anything just yet because I've got my eye on Gaz from Koji. I want to see what he's going to end up with. But it's very simple. The information that I gave you in those instructions, that I was inviting you all in this stunning hall in Merredin to create a mask to wear to the masquerade ball straight after lunch today. Did we all know? We've all got a mask. Right, let's open up. Let's show the whole room what we can see. And everyone hold up to our audience at home what we've got. Really big, really large. Let me start. Let's put it all down. Who got the instructions right and came up with the mask? Hold yours up really, really high. We've got Judy. Is that it? Oh, no, we've got, no, only one there. Okay. We've got two people in the room that followed the instructions. So I'm not sure how we went with all that other information we got today. Let's see. Who had one hole in the middle? Hold them up. Let's have a look. Okay, there's a few more of you with one. Really high, who had three? Really high, who had three? A couple of you. Okay, looking at the audience here, you might all know what a space invader was. How many space invaders? Hold it up if you've got a space invader. No, you've got two. There's a space invader. And somebody there, hold that one up. That looks like a moat. We hold it up that way, right? Interesting. So I want to know, now remember, I'm from the government. I'm used to being blamed, and I'm sure you guys are going to blame me right now. Why couldn't you follow The simple instruction of fold and tear. And I think there was another public servant in the room that called out a question to me halfway through and I ignored it. Why couldn't you? What did we get wrong?
The instructions weren't clear enough.
Oh, wow. For the people online, they're blaming the government. The instructions, my instructions weren't clear enough. Thank you. It was not your fault, it was mine. I was too fast. I was too quick. What else? You had your eyes closed. I like that because I want to show you what happened. And this is the subconscious that was going on. I remember I held up the sheet of paper exactly like this. I was holding it subconsciously before I said, that's in portrait for the people online, before I said, let's fold it in half. The minute I said fold it on half, do you know what you guys all did? You turned your paper the other way and you went to what you were comfortable with in landscape. So even though I was subconsciously saying, hey, let's start this way, I then got you to close your eyes so you couldn't see me do that and you went to what you were comfortable with. Well, you know, it's very, very similar for the people online and the people in the room today to my message. My message is no more than fold and tear. But in our industry, it goes like this. Employing, get coverage. Employing, get workers' compensation. Employing, get yourself a good insurer. Let me go and just grab the slide button and we'll move quickly from here. And the reason is, and we've heard about it today, we know when one rural community member and worker in agricultural industries is injured, it's one too many. But before I get to you to the real stats, what I want to show you is that beyond what is happening to our workforces, government is joined up. Government isn't with their eyes closed. Government shares data, information and resources. And the state government is working very closely with the federal government. And I know, because my eyes are opened, if you're employing and you haven't got coverage. Back in the day, WorkCover, much like WorkSafe now, we'd be out there, we'd be checking. Do you have a policy of insurance? We don't need to do that anymore because the ATO is in a partnership with WorkCover WA and they share every PAYG and BAS that is out there. And I know if you have a worker, and I know how much you're paying that worker, and then I correlate it with information that insurers give me to tell me if you're insured. I want to tell you today, whether you're in the room or joining us online, if you have 11 workers or under and you think you don't have insurance, please call me directly. Ring WorkCover, ask for me. Because if you come forward and if you self-disclose in this next little short time, the enforcement action that you can see on your screen or on the slide behind me will not apply. I would much prefer you to have insurance and for every worker that is on your farm to know that they have covered whether they're injured or ill because of their workplace. I would rather just give you a little smack on the hand and say, get that right insurance. But if you don't self-disclose and I find out, I'm straight into the next portion. I'm into infringements, and the infringements that we issue go all the way up to $150,000. Or worse, you'll be one of the 165 employers that we prosecuted just in the last financial year. 27 came from rural areas and the agricultural industry. That's how we are working with our eyes opened. You might have yours closed like we did in the activity, but mine aren't, and I will know. Come forward, give us a call, we're here to help. How do I know that there is still so much gross non-insurance in Western Australia? In the last 3 years, little old WorkCover little government department that shouldn't really be doing this put $205 million of premium back into the insurance industry. Now, I thought I had insurers out there to cover that and to make connections with you. I thought we had brokers out here working with our regional clients. But somehow or other, people fell through the net. That's an awful lot of business and, more importantly, an awful lot of workers who weren't covered when they had an injury. So let's have a look at how many we had. And we had some stats quoted today. I want to say we've done an amazing job, primarily because of WorkSafe and what WorkSafe is doing in bringing forward the message of it, in the importance of being safe in workplaces, no matter what that workplace is. Look at us 20 years ago, nearly 44,000 claims. Then a little thing happened in 2019-20. We went all the way down. We were on a terrific trajectory. And then some sort of virus tried to float over the Atlantic and the Indian and the Pacific, and it didn't really get to WA. Maybe got to the eastern states, but not really us. But something happened, because since 2020, we're on an upward trend again. Now, this is despite all the education coming out of WorkSafe, all the technical advancements that are going on to improve safety in our workforce. But the stat that I don't have up there is the stat that's coming for the financial year that's just been and gone. It's ticked up again. But to you guys in the room, the good news is you're the orange. I'm in your way. You're the orange. Your stats are coming down. So that means that there is improvement and proactivity happening in this industry. You were peaking right up there at the 800s. We're down into the 600s, which is fantastic, but still a few too many people being injured and making a claim. Now, remember, I don't really know how many people are being injured on a farm. All I know is who's making a claim. So those claim numbers are slightly coming down, which is a fantastic thing, but there's more work we can do. And we need to do this, because what I'm not showing you here is the impact, the cost and effect of you on the employer, on the individual who's had the injury, and in many, many cases, the family and the community that sit around that individual. We talked earlier about fatalities. Part of what we do is to support dependents. And no matter 3, 2, 1, it's heartbreaking. And I don't ever want to be in a position where I have to continue to support the dependence of a fatality on in a rural property. It's heartbreaking. So there is much, much more we can do. Let's take a quick look and have a little look-see. You can see the age group in which, unfortunately, fatalities often happen, but critical injuries actually happen. And for workers' comp across the board, as you can see, it outweighs in your industry young men between 16 and 24. And I've put the sex in there because of all claims in that age group of 16 to 24, it has been men. And in all claims that are catastrophic, it has been in that age group. We do know that's a really, really difficult demographic, whether they're driving cars or tractors, doesn't really matter. That's where the biggest impact has in your industry and in your community. And it is something that we need to do a lot more of. So when we're talking about that induction, when we're talking about whether they're casual workers or whether they are our family or friends, it's that age group that we really, really need to lean into for that. No doubt, and I'm sure you all know, and you're very, very aware of it in terms of what the injuries on farms look like and where they are positioned. But the one that we are seeing more and more and more of is not just spills and trips, not just lower back and upper back, but our injuries now are moving more into the mind, more to do with the psychosocial injuries that occur, whether through poor workforce practice or whether through the other stresses that come on property and farm owners. And I know that Terence is going to take a deep dive into psychological injuries. For those of you, and I know there are some in the room that are part of the government sector and work in government agricultural colleges in this room, the largest number of psychosocial claims comes from the public sector. It comes from frontline workers. We see that, we know that, we understand that. But we are starting to see a very, very strong trend into small business and private sector making those claims, often as a result of a primary injury. Now, we all understand when that might be as a result of you being injured in the workplace and the sorts of stress that comes from that injury. But the trend we're starting to see is there's no physical injury, it's just a psychological one. So that'll be a really, really interesting session after morning tea to have with Terence. But essentially, with the simplicity of the message that we have, we still see people in the rural sector without insurance. Whether it's because your eyes are closed, but mine's open, whether it's that you've got a broker that is not quite understanding the West Australian requirements, whether it's because of insurance stress, we talked about that a little bit before, and the types of premiums that you're paying, there is always a way around getting the right level of insurance for your business. This is a privately underwritten scheme. We have 6 insurers that insure for workers' compensation. Go and drive the deal. If your broker's not doing it for you, pick up the phone and call the insurer. You might be at 6 or 7%. Get it down to 3. Yes, collectively as the industry, but do a deal, take your business elsewhere. They want you, your big clients. So shop around, get it. If you happen to be in the situation right now of not having insurance, call me directly. I'm here to do any deal with anyone. Can't get you the insurance, you've got to get that yourself. But WorkCover WA, as a state government representative, doesn't want to take more people to court. We want you to have insurance. So finally, nothing gets in the way between us and a hot sausage roll or a party pie or whatever's out there waiting for you for morning tea. Just remember, keep that piece of paper. It's the starting point. We don't want any workplace incidences, but we know they happen. And when they happen, you want to make sure you've got coverage to protect yourself and your workers.